I'll be honest, I felt so lazy today, I just threw whatever I felt like putting on. Oh, gosh. Which is funny because I had to get up early for something. Like, full stop, it's almost 5 of 7 right now. And frankly, I just didn't have the time or patience, but you know what? I'll just throw on whatever for the video and, um, put on whatever I gotta put on later. But, I mean, the whole showering and brushing my teeth thing didn't change. So there's that. Good morning and happy Sunday, everybody. Let's see, let's get to my low, my high, my act of kindness. Let's see. Well, my low is that we got a lot of rain yesterday. A lot of rain. So, for those out there who were yammering on about how much we really needed rain, we got it, and then some. My high is I got to see my family yesterday, as well as I really got to spend time with my dad. And actually, my act of kindness was I did help my dad yesterday. I also helped my mom and my dad watch my nephews for a little while. That was nice. So, today's the big day. The FIFA World Cup final is this afternoon at 3 o'clock. And, yeah, evidently I'm not the only one up before 7 a.m. So, I guess I should probably preface this by saying, again, soccer, while it's a sport I both love and respect, it's not a sport that I actively seek out to watch like I probably should. I mean, the number one sport in the world, and I live in the one country that, well, we know that, but we don't really follow that logic, if that makes sense. I really shaded America would be like, our footballs are long and brown. That, oh my God, that sounded so horrible. But for real, I would say like anything soccer related, honestly, I think this might be like the first time I've ever really paid much attention to anything soccer related since, following my brother back when he did, travel soccer in the summer. And I wasn't even paying attention to that either. Yeah. So, yeah. Full disclosure, this is probably the World Cup I paid the most attention to ever for really two big reasons. The first reason was, the U.S. team. Actually, you know what? I gotta go back to Tim Howard's episode of Hot Ones for this. Wait, was it? I think it was Tim Howard. Ah, shoot, hold on. I want to say it was Tim Howard, but don't quote me. Let me look up the. Tim Dillon, maybe? No. Yeah, it was Tim Howard. Okay. So, yeah. a couple months ago, Tim Howard was on Hot Ones. And it was during that episode, two things came to light in terms of, the upcoming FIFA World Cup, which, fun fact, it was this Hot Ones episode that I learned that the World Cup was happening. Again, that's how much I need to pay better attention to soccer. So, in this episode, there were two things that really stuck out to mind, as I mentioned earlier. The first was the U.S. men's national team as well, which, obviously Tim Howard, played soccer. Of course, he would have insight on that. And this was supposed to be the best team that the United States has fielded in many years. And, I think they were called, the Golden Team or something. Or something superlative like that, I guess. Now, again, we in the U.S. understand the fact that soccer is the number one sport in the world, but that doesn't necessarily mean that, there are a lot of people who play soccer in America. Again, soccer is probably one of the most readily accessible sports you could ever hope to play. Because all you need is a soccer ball, which can come about as cheap as, $10, and virtually anyone of any age can play it. So, in that regard, yeah, it's no wonder why it's number one sport in the world. But, heaven forbid, we in America really, focus on that. But this U.S. men's team was supposed to be like the best team we fielded in forever. And when you're told that, you're actually given, at least for me, it was given some hope that, listen, I will admit, for a split second, I didn't drink the Kool-Aid, but I took a sip of it. Where maybe this U.S. men's team could really do well. And for all intents and purposes, we did. We were on a roll up until we got to Belgium. But, I think we made to the top 16 or something like that. That's pretty cool. Which I think is better than what we normally do. So yeah, shout out to the U.S. men's team for being okay in comparison to everybody else. But that's true, guys. Come on, listen. Honestly, the fact, this year really was a combination of, several things that just happened to coincide with one another. This is the best U.S. men's team we're supposed to have. America was celebrating its 250th birthday. I'm sure there's other America-related stuff that, was going on. We had just gotten out of Pride Month around the time the FIFA World Cup had started. We were in Pride Month when the FIFA World Cup started, and, many people were still riding that high going into July. Hey, that rhymed. So, yeah, this really was a combination of, several things that just happened to coincide with one another. Probably not going to happen again for a long time. So, yeah. But the U.S. men's team, they didn't do good. Just, in comparison to everybody else, it's just okay, I guess. So, yeah, the U.S. men's team was one of the reasons why I was even remotely interested in the World Cup. But also, in that Hot Ones episode that Tim Howard was on, at the very end, Sean Evans asked Tim Howard what the prediction was, who's going to win the World Cup. And, I mean, first of all, the fact that Tim Howard didn't say the U.S. men's team, like, yeah, I knew they weren't going to win it either. However, the match we have today should be rather interesting, because one of the teams in this final, I believe, are the returning champions, Argentina. And the other team is Spain, whom Tim Howard actually predicted was going to win it all. I mean, listen, it doesn't really get much cooler than this. I mean, you know, the team that Tim Howard predicted was going to win it all, and the team that won it the last World Cup. I mean, it's going to be a good match. Like, I really think it's going to be a good match. Like, that was the other side. I want to see if Tim Howard's prediction would come true, and as of right now, there's a, you know what, there's a 50-50 chance it's going to happen now. Like, it really is. Like, at this point, like, right now, Spain is in charge of their own destiny. And the same can be said for Argentina as well. And it's funny, the young kid in me who took Spanish throughout middle school and high school, as well as 4 semesters of it in college, can't help but feel a little bit excited because, well, obviously Spain would do this, but in Spain and Argentina, Spanish is the number 1 language. I mean, again, obviously Spain would have the number 1 language, you know, Spanish. But, you know, Argentina is a predominantly Spanish-speaking country. I mean, yeah, there's people that speak other languages, and of course there are people that speak English in Argentina. But the number 1 language in Argentina is also Spanish. Both Spain and Argentina are 2 capitals that I remember learning about in middle school and high school. Obviously, Madrid is the capital of Spain, and Buenos Aires is the capital of Argentina. Admittedly, that's about all I know. But still, I find stuff like that kind of fascinating. And the fact that even after all these years, because I'm 36 years old, I've been out of school for a long time at this point. You know, considering how, you know, rough emotionally for me both middle school and high school was, well, actually, you know what? I guess over time, my distaste for it's kind of lessened, I suppose. And I am able to think of more good things as time has gone on. Of course, the whole Spanish-speaking countries and their capitals thing I knew already. You know what? If the World Cup is on, I can totally imagine, like, again, both capital cities of both countries being completely, like, kind of like what they did in, like, New York City with the Knicks. Like, a lot of people are, like, watching the game on a giant screen. I'm sure they're going to show that. It'd be really cool if they did. So, yeah. Tim Howard's prediction of Spain winning it all, that was my other reason why I was paying even remote attention to this World Cup. So, I guess at this point it begs the question, who do I think is going to win? I mean, given how good Tim Howard's episode of Hot Ones was, I would actually like to see Spain win this. Actually, I mentioned America was celebrating its 250th birthday earlier on the time the World Cup was happening. I ran into a dear friend of mine on the 4th of July, actually, who back in high school was a soccer player. So, you know, if anyone would have insight, it'd be my friend. Shout out to my friend, by the way. And we talked about how, I told him how Tim Howard wasn't hot once he predicted Spain was going to win. And my friend wound up saying that Argentina might win. I mean, listen, my friend in question would know probably better than anyone else I would know. Like, I'd be hard pressed to think of anyone else I know who's really that much into soccer who would know these things. So, I guess, for the sake of my friend, I would like to see Argentina win too. I don't know. I really don't know who I want to win this. I don't know who I want to win the World Cup. I mean, again, since the U.S. got eliminated, I kind of lost most, if not all, of my interest in it. So I guess whoever wins, yeah, that's great. The one thing I can predict, though, is if you're a soccer fan, you're going to be eating good today. Because I predict this is going to be a pretty great game. And you know what? You're going to feel for whoever loses. You're going to cheer the loudest for whoever wins. And when you know that the outcome is going to be like that, you know that we're in for a treat later on. So I hope you like this video. If you'd like to try to keep your shop out on social media, as always, I'm very homely this video for all you guys watching. Joe, hopefully you have a wonderful, wonderful Sunday. Remember, if you guys want to talk, James, we're here to let you know back. Take care and make good choices. 607 all day, baby.